teams did very, very well, right, in terms of defining your first challenge. And I love that, right? I really love that. There are many challenges that you have seen, and especially when we have guided you to construct a journey map, right? So you are actually using the first tool, which is the journey map, to look at the challenge in life very differently, right? I think that's the first step into design thinking, right? Which is empathy, right? So you know that empathy is important in design thinking, and we are wearing a empathy hat to look at problems and issues or challenges, obstacles very differently, right? Now, once you've done that, we will actually go into a few more steps, which is to interview with empathy, right? This is not an ordinary interview that you have done in other courses, like in business, you probably heard about primary market research, which you have to interview your users. In computer science, in software engineering especially, you have to do some requirements gathering, which you also have to interview your software users, right? So I think in design thinking, we call it interview with empathy with certain set of processes. So we're going to do that for the first 30 minutes. And then we're going to construct the empathy map together, right? Using a tool called Miro. And you'll be exposed to using new tools as part of this course. And I hope you can continue to practice and utilize all these free tools online as and when you need it. Not just for design thinking, but also for other courses. I think last week, we actually show you how to use Draw.io, right? So I think that was wonderful too. In fact, you can actually draw a lot of diagrams, mind map, and so on and so forth using Draw.io. I see some fantastic, journey maps. And I think this week we're going to introduce you one more tool, right, which is more high-tech than Draw.io. That is a plain vanilla tool that we have introduced. But Miro is a tool that is way beyond what you can do with Draw.io. Okay, so we're going to do that. So there's only two things that you need to do today. Right now, frame your challenge, we're done. The next task after framing your design challenge is to interview at least 2 people, each person in your team, right? So you have to interview at least 2 people, right? For each person in your team, right? So for example, your team have 3 person or 6 person in your team. Each team member will have to interview at least 2 people, right? The topic of the interview is up to you to define, as long as the interview questions are related to the problem that you want to find out more, right? Remember, we are going after the problem, right? So look at the problem. Don't think about the solution yet, right? Don't go too far. Solve the problem on Earth, right? Don't go to the moon. Don't go to the Mars. Don't go to the Jupiter yet, right? Focus on the problem itself, right? Do not think about the solution yet, right? So there is a certain process that you need to follow, right? First of all, is to choose the right user segment. The person that you're going to interview, you have to pre-qualify them, right? So one example here is that if your problem is related to exam, right? I'm solving a problem in, simplifying the exam, right? Don't go and interview the bus driver, okay? All right. So if your problem is related to food delivery, don't go and interview, some other, don't go and interview, what was it called? The J&T logistic company, right? Because that has nothing to do with food delivery, right? So it's logistic, but J&T is focusing on delivering parcel or packages. They are not expert in delivering food, right? So I think that's the way that so to speak, is don't go interview people who are not the user or the expert in that problem area itself, right? So if your problem is related to something to do with the courses, teaching, internet, go and interview the relevant user segments. Yeah. So for example, I have students who wants to find out internet connectivity problems. which is the main topic of today, right? So I want to focus on internet connectivity issue. Please do not go and interview my mom's, right? My mom is 75 years old. She doesn't use internet. She doesn't have WhatsApp. Don't go interview my kids, 2 years old, right? An infant on the baby creator, right? There's nothing to do with that, right? So if you want to find the right segment for internet issues, go and interview students, go and interview, bus driver could be, you need to use the GPS, right? Internet connectivity issue, right? Go interview lecturers, go interview, all these internet users that you can find on the street, okay? So that's the first thing, right? Now, second thing is about the process, right? The process is very important because you always have to ask the question why. Why problem happens, right? So for example, you want to find out, why internet doesn't work in certain areas, right? So why it doesn't work? And what kind of a line or what kind of packages are you using, right? So is it very specific scenario? So for example, asking why, you got to ask 5 whys, right? So that brings to the next slide here. 5 whys is very important. You keep on finding the root cause with all the whys, right? So one example here is that, okay, now the first thing that people always see is that when your car doesn't start, right? Okay, so the problem is when your car doesn't start in the morning. Okay, why it doesn't start? The battery is dead. Why the battery is dead? Oh, the battery alternator is not functioning. Why the alternator belt, is not functioning? Right, the belt has been broken. Why the belt has been broken? Oh, because I didn't service the car for quite some time. That's why it's broken. Right, it's actually used beyond, its product life. Right, why you didn't maintain the car? Okay, so you can see by asking 5 whys here, you are trying to dig out the root cause to the problem itself, right? And when the car doesn't start, it's not the real problem itself. The real problem is the driver or the owner of the car did not go and maintain the car. All right. So that's the entire root cause itself. And you got to find the root cause, uncover the root cause, and solve the root cause. Not trying to solve the symptoms, right? So when you want to cure a certain problem effectively, design thinking process really teaches, and it really gives us a tool to go and find out the root cause, to uncover more insights, and also to really design a solution to solve the root cause and to get rid or even to alleviate the problem entirely. So that's the importance of using 5 whys. Now, second one is never say usually. Right? Usually it happens, right? So usually I couldn't find a parking at Quest. I don't know why, right? Instead, always ask the user, when was the last time you faced this issue? Tell me a scenario. Encourage the stories, right? Encourage them to tell you the story. When there was an event at school, we always couldn't find a decent parking slot, right? Near the campus. Whenever it's on Monday morning, especially, I couldn't find a parking slot right in front of campus. Monday morning, right? So that is a typical scenario, right? So Monday morning is a clue. It is a clue for you to find out why Monday morning it is pretty congested on the campus, right? And when you keep on asking why, you'll find out, hey, how come everybody's timetable on Monday morning is packed with classes from 8 in the morning until 12 on noon, right? Especially on Monday mornings. I don't know why. The timetable for everyone is packed. But on Friday afternoon or Friday eve, like today, the classes like off, right? So everybody's like, they either go for NPU classes, they either go for uni classes on Friday afternoon. And most of these classes are conducted online. And therefore, at the campus, there are plenty of parking on Friday afternoon onwards. And you never have any congestion on the campus, right? Who will be contending with the parking. There's no parking issues on Friday afternoon. from 3 p.m. onwards. Yeah, and why the timetable is arranged in such a way, okay? And why the timetable is not being evenly distributed over all the time slots. So encourage all these stories, all these questions, and you keep on asking why. You'll find out the root cause of the problem. Okay. Now, move to the next. Look for inconsistencies. Right. You're going to interview 2 users, and obviously these 2 users are 2 unique persons, and they will tell you different stories. Right. So there won't be 2 users telling you the same thing. Right. And from all these interviews that you have collected, let's say you have 6 people in the team, you have collected 12 interviews, right? So you have collected all the interviews with some stories, you write down the notes, right? You don't have to write essays, just put out some notes. Always look for inconsistencies, right? What does this person tell you about internet, on the campus, about internet at home, about internet at the Meru Resort, right? I just went there to deliver 20 routers. About internet at McDonald's, right? About internet at Starbucks. You get free internet at Starbucks, right? So does it really work? Can you attend classes using Starbucks Wi-Fi? I bet not, right? So look for all these inconsistencies. Yeah, it's internet issues, but what are all these people doing? And then what would be the inconsistent scenarios that or observations that you have seen, right? And sometimes it's also good to pay attention to non-verbal cues, right? So for example, you are interviewing the person online, like you can see that I have a lot of expressions. So it's good to turn on the camera, because from all these expressions that I make, you can see whether I'm sad, right? I'm frightened, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm happy, I'm delighted. All these are non-verbal cues, right? So you can record it down when the customer encounter or explain certain scenarios. This particular user is observed to be very agitated, right? I'm very angry, I'm very frustrated, I'm very stressed out. I couldn't find a parking on Monday morning, I'm late for classes. And especially during exam week, I'm rushing for this exam, but couldn't get a parking, right? That's why I'm late for exam, right? So these are all non-verbal cues, right? You can see from expressions, you can see from the body languages and so on and so forth, right? And don't be afraid of silence, right? When you do interviews, right? Just now when I showed a video about this David Kelly and this 60 Minutes host, right? You look at the interviews, the host always guide the interviewees to tell stories. And then you give time to your users to respond. You see, like the video just now that I've shown you, other than the ideal stories, other than Steve Jobs stories, you can see that how this interview takes place, right? So sometimes you have pauses in between, but let the user tell the stories, give them time. Don't try to help them, right? But guide them to tell more stories. Yeah. So do not be afraid of silent moment, and don't try to suggest answers to your own questions, because you're asking the question to the users. You're supposed to wait for the users to give answers. Yeah. Don't try to suggest any solution. Do not try to suggest any answers, right, to the questions that you have asked. And ask the questions neutrally, right? Don't ask too false questions. I think those are very rigid questions, right? Don't ask binary questions, right? Binary questions means that it's only true or false, or there's only right or right or how to say, right or wrong, right? So don't ask binary questions. Encourage questions that you can really hear more things from your users, right? So how do you design the questions is really up to you, right? And I leave it to you to design the questions. And you can design 4 to 5 questions, not too many, not like 10 questions. We're not answering questionnaire. We're not doing quiz. So design 4 to 5 questions that you want to find out, right? In terms of when does it happen? What causes it to happen? What causes the problem? How much does it cost to have the problem? Like, for example, right, if I couldn't find a car park at the campus, what do I do? right? I will park illegally. I will double park. I will pay 4 ringgit to park further away. I will probably, reserve a parking slot at the campus by paying 60 ringgit per month. Well, that's also a solution, right? I will take a Grab car next time, right? I spend 14 ringgit just to take a Grab car to campus. It's very pricey, right? So these are all the impact, right? So if you don't get this, what are you going to do, right, as alternatives, right? Because all these things will lead to the next step called problem statement. We're going to do that next week, right? But this week itself, try to gather all this information, okay? And well, for extreme users, you can observe and always interview your extreme users. And then, as I said, look for alternatives, look for workarounds. What did they do when they couldn't get the problem resolved, right? So even yourself, right? You can also interview yourself. Like if you couldn't get Food Panda, what would you do? What would you do, right? If you couldn't get Food Panda, what would you do, right? So if I couldn't get Food Panda, I would get GrabFood. If I couldn't get GrabFood, last resort, I would drive out to Tapao, right? So that's my workarounds, okay? So these are the problematic things, right? So sometimes if you want to order GrabFood, I just ordered my GrabFood 2 weeks back in Penang. I decided not to go out when I was, attending an education fair in Penang very recently. And to me is that when I need to order food from 2 places, right, from 2 food store, I got to have 2 transactions. I cannot combine the transactions into one. And I got to pay for 2 delivery fees, right? So it's like, doesn't make sense, right? And these 2 places are actually close to each other, right? Because I ordered a bubble tea from one store, and I order, a fried rice from another store, and these 2 stores are pretty close to each other. But because of GrabFood policy, I have to order in 2 separate transactions, and that means I have to go down to the hotel to pick up my food twice. This is creating inconvenience to the users, and this could be a problem to solve, right? So this could be a problem to solve as well, right? How to simplify GrabFood orders, right? Some simple examples. And now the next thing is you can also do some research, right? The research can be done in a questionnaire, right? In a questionnaire, you can actually send this as a questionnaire online to conduct your research, right? So not necessarily you have to conduct interviews. You can also conduct, a survey or a research using a certain questionnaire, right? So let me just do this interview with you, yeah? So I will have this research. Let's do this together so that you can see, how this research goes. Because I'm doing this for my own internet connectivity survey. I hope you all can also spare 2 minutes just to do this together, yeah? So I'm just going to cut and paste and then post it to the group chat. You can click on the form and then open up this particular survey, right? So I'm just going to do this together here. Right, so we call this a 2021 Mobile Connectivity Survey, right? Conducted by Mr. Tay Yan Pei, right? Okay, now, so let's do this survey together. So what smartphone platforms are you using now? Pick one. So I'm using an Android. How frequent do you use your smartphone to access the internet? All the time. Where do you usually access the internet? For me, at home, at school, so these are the typical places that I'm using internet for. What is your most frequently used method to access the internet? Oh, I use my home Wi-Fi a lot, right? Do you use mobile data to access the internet? Yes. Go to the next, right? You can see that the questions are very, very objective, yeah? So the next one will be about your mobile data plan, right? Because I claim that I'm a mobile data user. I'm also a Wi-Fi user, but I do have mobile data plan, right? So maybe some of you do not have mobile data plan, I do not know, but it's just the nature of the user, right? So what is your monthly mobile data charges, right? Actually, I use the quite an expensive plan, so it's 100 and above. What do you hate most while using your mobile data on your smartphone? I couldn't get a very good, decent 4G signal in my own house. Yeah, so I always get like 1 bar on my Maxis, and that's very bad, right? So 1 bar on my Maxis. That's all. Okay. Do you use Wi-Fi in conjunction with your mobile data? Yes, right. I have to survive on Wi-Fi. Do you feel troublesome to toggle in between Wi-Fi and mobile data on your smartphone? Yes, I got to turn it on and off, right, all the time. Okay. Do you agree that Wi-Fi gives you generally faster speeds compared to mobile data? Obviously, right? My home Wi-Fi is way faster than my mobile data. Okay. So next, what do you hate most using Wi-Fi on your smartphone? Well, no internet access. I see full Wi-Fi bar, but my Unify gives me 0 internet access, right? Like certain hours, yes, certain hours. Do you feel troublesome to manually turn on Wi-Fi radio on your smartphone? No, I keep it on all the time. Do you ever use public Wi-Fi hotspot at Starbucks to access the internet? Yeah, I did, but I don't like it. Right, I just used that like 2 days ago in Penang, and the password is horrible, right? So it gives me all these one-time access password, and it's horrible. Yeah, I got to even create an account to access Starbucks Wi-Fi. Okay, which I do not know why. What do you hate most while using public Wi-Fi hotspot? Yeah, this is what I hate. Asking me to register as a new user, right? Hey, come on, you're wasting my time, right? So why do I need to create as a new username and password just to use the free Wi-Fi, right? So it doesn't make sense. Would you pay for a good Wi-Fi service available throughout the country? Yeah, I will pay $1 for that. Okay. Are you a frequent traveler? I would say yes, right? So I travel a lot. Last month I was traveling to Sarawak. Do you usually buy a mobile prepaid card while traveling to a foreign country? No, I don't. If there were a good Wi-Fi in foreign country, do you still require to buy a prepaid card? I don't, right? If there's already free Wi-Fi, right, everywhere, I can just use the free Wi-Fi. Would you be willing to pay a small fee to access all the good Wi-Fi in the foreign country? Yes, I said yes, right? $1 for that. Which type of application would you use most in the foreign country? Well, I would say that in the foreign country, I wouldn't stream YouTube a lot. I would actually use a messaging app, right? Because I need to communicate with people. And maybe number 2 is the Google Maps, right? So I need maps to go around to navigate my way around. Let's say in South Korea, right? So yeah. Okay, last one. So this is my own product survey. Yeah. Simplify basically is the product that I sell. Right? Simplify can automatically connect you to a nearby Wi-Fi. Yeah. Do you agree that this is a good process to auto connect you to a nearby Wi-Fi automatically, right? So yes, I will appreciate that. Simplify only connects you to the best quality network. Do you agree that this makes you a more effective mobile consumer? Yes. And then Simplify grants you access to major Wi-Fi hotspot in the country at a small fee. How much would you pay for that? Right? So maybe less than 10 ringgit a month, right? Even the founder said this, yeah. Okay. Simplify charges you at 1 ringgit per gig. Does this seem affordable to you? Yeah, maybe, right? Simplify lets you resell your unused mobile data at 1 ringgit per gig. I've got plenty of data that I couldn't use up at the end of the month. And if there's a platform for me to resell my data, why not, right? To earn the extra cash, right? So my answer is yes, right? Submit it. I hope you can do the same, right? I want to hear your feedback as well, okay? And that's done, okay? So you can do this kind of questionnaire using this kind of quizzes, yeah? So it's not difficult to design. You don't need to design 25 questions, as I said. You can design 5 to 10 questions for questionnaire, 5 to 10 questions, okay? So this is a very simple questionnaire or survey that you can design with the team and then send it out to all the targeted users, yeah, all the relevant users, which is having the same issues that you see. Okay. Now we are going to move into the second part of this topic, which is to create empathy map. Okay. You have time to do this at your own pace, and I think I've set the due date until 7th January, right? So the 7th of January, you get to submit both your interviews and your empathy map. Okay, now you cannot create your empathy map without consolidating or without gathering all the feedback from your interviews, because you can only create an empathy map after you have done your interviews or the questionnaire, because you're going to summarize that into an empathy map. Okay, so an empathy map is basically a 4 quadrants map that summarize what your user say, what your user does, what your user feel, and what your user think on the prompt itself, on the prompt that they are facing, right? With respect to the areas that you want to get insight for. Okay, so what are the, from all your interviews, right? What did the user say? So summarize that, put in that quadrants. What does your user do? When they couldn't order GrabFood, they order Foodpanda. When they couldn't order Foodpanda, they go out to Taobao, right? So this is what they do. Okay, when they couldn't find a proper parking slot, they park along the yellow line, and that's what they do, right? So when you couldn't use a voice call, you actually call people using WhatsApp call. That's what they do. Okay. When they couldn't get a decent internet at home, what do? They turn on their hotspot on their mobile phone. That's what they do. Okay. So these are the things that you can only find out from your interviews. After your survey and after your interviews, record down or summarize what do they say, do, think, and feel, right? When they couldn't connect to the internet, how do they feel? They feel happy, they feel delighted, they feel, oh, it's wonderful. I don't have to attend classes, right? Especially on Friday Eve. I don't think so. Probably you feel very frustrated. You feel, you feel stressed out. Well, you name it, right? So you extract that from your interviews and put it here. Okay, now we're going to do this together. So with that, I'm going to introduce you to one tool called Miro. Okay, just go to Miro.com. Okay, you don't have to wait. I think let me just log in and I'll invite you. Yeah, so let me just log in. Right, hold for a second. Let me just log in. I will log in with my sign in. Okay, wrong button. So you can sign in with your QIU email account, very simply. And I will invite you to the dashboard. Yeah, so don't worry about that. I will do that for you. Okay, now this is a very simple dashboard. Okay, it's taking time to load. Well, I think my internet is slow today. All right, got it. Okay, now you can see my dashboard here. I have all these dashboard, and then I can create a new board. Okay. Okay, with this tool, you can create a lot of wonderful stuff. Yeah. I'll delete one. Hang on. Let me just delete one. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I will create one simple dashboard. Okay, you can see that it pops out, right? So there's so many things that I can use, right? There's so many templates here. You can have templates for meetings. You want to take you want to do some brainstorming using your meetings. You can have all these templates here that you can use. You can even do mind map, Like, for example, you have this mind mapping, right? This is a very good, very common template that you can use. You can just use it here. You can actually also draw customer journey map. I didn't tell you last week, right? So sorry about that, but I want you to use the traditional method. So you can use Miro to draw customer journey map as well. You can, have like fishbone diagram. This more for engineers. You can also draw storyboards for designers as well. You can do mapping. A lot of there's wireframes. If you want to create an app, you can draw these Kanban diagrams. You can do a lot some other wonderful stuff, right? Using this Miro. Okay. Now, what we're going to do today is just to use a very simple thing called brand writing, right? So this is what we use for brainstorming. Okay, we're going to create empathy map. Okay, using brand writing template. Okay, so here, so I just use this, and what I'm going to do is that I will just share the link with you so that you can log in to this dashboard. We can see you all in this dashboard. We can do collaborative editing, yeah, empathy map. Okay, so save it. Let me know if you couldn't see this dashboard, yeah. I'll turn on the video for a while. I think it's loading. Okay. All right, so I will copy the link to the team. And then I'll invite you to this dashboard, right? Right. So just click on the link on the group chat, and then you'll be redirected to Miro. Okay. So while I'll be creating the dashboard, I see so many people coming in, right? Very good, right? You guys are fast, right? Don't do anything yet, right? So don't get too excited. Don't do anything yet. Okay, we're going to create some simple quadrants here, right? Which is the empathy map, yeah. So we're going to do this empathy map together. Okay, we are going to do interviews together as well. Let's see, yeah. So let me just draw this. So the first one is what people say, right? Okay, let me just put it up nicely. Okay, I cut and paste. Second one is do. Okay, don't do anything, right? Please. Okay, let me just finish this. So this is my simple empathy map, yeah? So let me just do this very quickly, yeah? The CD one second. We have time, right? Don't worry, we can do this in 15 minutes. What do you think? And then how do you feel, right? Sorry, don't move this one. Okay, now, so I have a very simple empathy map here, okay? So, and the topic of our problem today, sort of like our design challenge, right? Today, right? Our design challenge today is about poor internet connection. Oops, who is this? Our our design challenge today is about poor internet connection. Okay, so this is our design challenge, right? So just now I've oriented you to sort of like understand what are the challenges for for internet. Right? I will just remove this box. I think it's giving me some trouble here. I think you guys are clicking on that. Okay. So now, what you need to do is that as an internet user, right? I believe every one of you are internet users, right? Otherwise, you would be here. Am I right? So all of you, given all of you are internet users, now use these post-it notes. What do you feel when you're facing internet connectivity issues? What do you do when you're facing poor internet connection? Right? What do you say? I want to hear all of this, right? And I just give you one example here, right? So what I'll do when I'm facing poor internet issue, I'll turn on my hotspot. Put it here, right? And keep doing, right? So do not worry about duplicating or having the same feel or same feeling, same thoughts or same sayings or same actions, right? So don't worry, just put it like what do you say, right? When you have poor internet connection, I always heard my sister say that, she's going to call Telecom Malaysia, right? So she's going to call Unify, okay? So this is what she says every time when internet goes down, and the user will say, "Oh, I will definitely terminate. I will terminate my line." Okay, that's what they say. But do they do it? Yeah. If they do it, then you just put in the do quadrant. Right. Let's do this collaboratively. So please contribute. Just click the post-it notes. You can do it here as well. Right. Sticky notes. You can choose the color. Paste it here, and then write your stuff, and then drag it to what you say, what you think, how do you feel, and what you do. Okay. Very simply, right? Wow, I see a lot of very good, very good points here. So I switch on my cellular data. Most of you actually does the same thing as me, right? So I just turn on my hotspot. If internet goes down in my class, I will just like use my hotspot, right? So that's the easiest alternative, right? Instead of going to Starbucks, instead of going back to campus, right? So I will just use my mobile hotspot, which is right in front of me, okay? And I will also probably think about renting a router, right? So if let's say my Unify goes down, I still have a spare router that I can use. And in fact, I do have that at my house, right? So I have a router on the second floor, so that I can actually turn it on when things doesn't go right on my Unify router, right? Restart the router, yes, yeah. If the internet is poor, you probably go and restart the router, and most of the time it works, right? But it takes time, right? It takes time, right? It takes time. So this is what you do, right? Very, very good, right? And when the internet goes down, you take a walk. Does it solve the problem? No, this is what you do. Somebody cry and hide, steal my neighbor's Wi-Fi. I don't know how you do that. You probably have a special tool. Switch between data and Wi-Fi, use hotspot, call 100 to complain, right? Restart my Wi-Fi. Yeah, a lot of you do the right thing. Yeah. So I can even call Simplify, right, to deliver a Wi-Fi to me, right? Yeah, if you are in Nepal, we can deliver a Wi-Fi to you. It's like I have classes, my internet goes down today, so I can ask Simplify to rent me a router, right? So we can do that, okay? Just for information. What do I feel? I feel upset, angry, annoyed, frustrated, all negative things here, right? Nobody feel happy, right? When your internet goes down. Okay, so that means the fear of missing out is important. Yeah, the fear of missing out, the FOMO effect, right, is there. Okay, you cannot live 1 second without the internet. Okay, so this is what you can see here. It is very urgent. The urgency is there, right? The need is there, right? You can see that nobody feels happy when the internet goes down, right? So if you say this to a Buddhist monk, I think the feeling is great, right? It's so great to get disconnected, right? So they'll tell you this, yeah. But so far I haven't seen this, right? Okay, now what do you think? I don't get what I pay for. Yes. What is the purpose of paying for the internet? The Wi-Fi is very bad. Why is this company so bad, right? Yeah. So these are things that you probably think in your head, right? So this a lot of people say, "Oh, welcome to Malaysia," right? We're 5G, but we're using 4G speed, right? We're 4G, but we're using 3G speed, right? So this is what is always in our mind, right? So, well, and what you say, okay? Yeah, the F word. Yeah, I don't want to say this. G's, horrible Wi-Fi, So yeah, this is what you say, right? We hear this enough, okay? Right? So it's so easy, right? To come up with the empathy map. Is it easy? Simple enough?
Yes, sir.
Yes, right? So this is another tool that design thinking is actually teaching us how to map all these data points that you have collected from your interviews or questionnaire, and even from your own observations, right? So we didn't do any interviews and questionnaire here, but I think everybody knows, about how bad or what's the feeling of having poor internet service, isn't it? So instantly we can generate more than 100 points on this dashboard within maybe less than 50 minutes, right? All right, now I'll leave the last few minutes for you to play around, right? You can continue using this Miro dashboard, right? Take it as one example. And then when you need to export this entire dashboard, please, you can save it, or actually export this board as a PDF, right? Don't send me the link, yeah, because maybe I won't be able to open the link. Please export this as an image or PDF, and then attach this in the Google Classroom, right? So when you submit this, ask your team leader to submit this. When you submit this as part of your week 3 deliverable, right? Interview with empathy, construct an empathy map, So when you submit this, please submit the PDF file, okay? So do this, please. Okay, so the due date for this is 7th of January 2022, because I do not wish to disrupt or disturb you during your Christmas and New Year holiday. All right, does it sound good? I hope yes. All right, so that's for this class today. It's very simple. I hope you enjoy it, right? It's going to be a very simple class. I make it very simple for you. All the tools that I've taught you, the Miro tool, you can use the Google form to also create your questionnaire. You can either do an interview or doing a survey questionnaire and then send it out to your users, right? So once you've done that, you just collect everything and then put it on the empathy map, submit it on the 7th of January next year, right? So that's it. Thanks a lot. How to mark attendance today? Yeah, good question. I haven't come up with the attendance. Yeah. So anyway, you get that in next 15 minutes. So you can mark your attendance by check back 15 minutes later, right? So you'll get an email anyway, right? Don't worry about that. Okay. So if you have any questions, I will stay back for the next 5 minutes so that you can ask me questions, any questions about design thinking. And if not, then I think you may log off. You enjoy your dinner. I don't want to hold you. And then, of course, enjoy your weekend and stay safe again, right? Just remind you and stay inspired, right? Okay, goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.